Welcome to EnVision Center News, where we discuss community impact and involvement with today's nonprofit leaders and philanthropists.
Hey, Jon. Thanks
Hi.
for joining us today. I'm actually very excited to have you here today. You've been a longtime partner in this community and with the EnVision Center. So it's really great to have you here to actually share with everyone else all this good work you're doing.
Right on.
Yeah. So thanks for being here. I want to ask you about how we got this name Dogsmile, right? Because it's so much fun to say and to hear. But before I do that, will you tell us more about Dogsmile Adventures as the founder, right? And what the organization is?
Yeah, well, it's nice to be here. Thanks. Dogsmile Adventures is a therapeutic sailing program. And so the mission is to provide healing and discovery through sailing experiences. We target those who don't have access to sailing or those who have specific challenges in their life that would likely prohibit them from participating in such an activity. So we work with the special needs population. We work with people with physical disabilities, veterans, lots of different youth groups. I seek partners who serve specific populations, and then we see if some therapeutic recreation would fit in to their mission. And so I partner with a lot of groups in the region to try to get people out sailing so that we can see if it makes them feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that concept. And really, when you say the region, what does that entail?
Well, most of my clients come from Sandpoint, Coeur d'Alene, clear to Spokane,
Okay.
a bit into Montana. You know, that's the lion's share of the folks.
Sure.
Occasionally I'll get a group that reaches out from much further away.
Okay.
That's doing it as more of a destination retreat or outing or camp. But for the most part, the people that are out sailing with me live within, 40, 50 miles of the lake at the most.
Okay. That would make some sense.
Yeah.
So tell me now, how did Dogsmile become Dogsmile Adventures? The name and how you started it.
Sure. Well, the name is been with me since I was a kid. We had a dog. I grew up on a farm in Wisconsin. We had a dog named Pepper that would smile. She would show her teeth. Lots of people have probably seen a dog smile before. And I always thought that dog was going to bite me. And I can remember I was a little boy and my dad held me down and was like, make it back at her. Do it back. And I did it. And then she licked my face, and then I got it. He's like, she's just happy to see you. He didn't know what he did, Dad, at that point, because then I started making the face all the time. Family pictures. I ruined family photos one year. This is the days before digital where we had to go to the church all dressed up to get our pictures taken, and then they would come a month and a half later, and here everyone's pretty stoic, and there's me full dog smile. Mom wasn't super pleased that day.
Well,
We had to go get him again. But anyway, they used to call me Dogsmile because I would make the face, and it stuck with me. And then, many years later, when I found the boat that is now called Dogsmile, that is the flagship of the whole business, I found that boat abandoned in a boatyard in Antigua in the Caribbean. And it had 3 names at the time. Nobody knew what to call it, and we just decided to name it Dogsmile because I didn't have a better idea at the time. This was way before the nonprofit, way before this whole mission became real. We just needed a name for the boat, and so we chose Dogsmile, and then eventually it, morphed into this thing.
yeah.
As far as the program beginnings are pretty bizarre, to be honest. It was late 2019, early 2020. I had been working in the Caribbean as a yacht skipper, running, very expensive boats for fairly wealthy clientele most of the time. And I burned out and was going to sell my boat. So I had the Dogsmile. It was in Grenada where we were living, and I was selling the boat and went down there to get it. And we were sailing to Galveston, Texas to put the boat on a truck, and it was going to Seattle where it was under contract. We left Grenada on the 15th of March, 2020. People were getting sick in China. I was like, whatever. There's a lot of details in my head at that point, and the coronavirus, as it was called at that time, was like not on my list.
Sure.
Until it was. We ended up in the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands, because it seemed like the right place to be because of the border closures and the uncertainty. We thought we'd stay there for a few days and then press on, and we were in the Virgin Islands for 3.5 months in quarantine. We won quarantine, if there's such a thing.
Okay.
If you're going to get stuck somewhere, St. John's a pretty good spot. We ended up on the ball there for a while. And during that process, I called the folks in Seattle who were going to buy the boat. And the fellow on the other end of the line, who sounded quite shaken, said, "John, you need to make other plans." And he hung up on me. And I almost freaked out. I was going through a lot of changes in my personal life at the time, and I just wanted to get this boat sold and kind of start over. And that is not what happened. In my near panic, my friend Jenny, who was on the boat with me, Jenny had signed up for 5 days of sailing and wound up on the boat for over 3 months. And she watched me pace back and forth. The Dogsmile's 12 feet wide. She's like, "John walked about 1.5 miles before he calmed down." And she said, "John, what would you do if you could do anything you wanted?" And I told her I would kick her off the back of the boat into the sea. I was pretty fired up at the time. She's like, "Come on, we're stuck here. Play along." Because from my point of view, you have a lot of options right now. And the first words that came out of my mouth in that moment were, "I wish that I could give this away. I wish that this thing I get to do every day was free. I wish we could take people sailing who need it instead of those who can afford it." And she just looked at me and said, "Well, then let's just do that."
Simple,
Super
right?
profound. Yeah. So we did.
Okay.
We went to work. And the odyssey from there to here is long. It's a longer story than we have time for. But we wound up in Idaho. Here, the boat's in Bayview, that same boat. It's in Bayview, and that's how we got the program started. The boat got to Bayview in like end of June, early July 2020.
Okay.
Got our 501c3 about a year later, May of 21. And so 2021 was our first official season here. So we're now into season 5. Yeah, still in business.
Yes. Same boat too, right?
Yep. Now
Do
we
you
have
have
other.
multiple?
Now we
Okay.
have more boats now.
Okay.
Yeah. For a long time, I lived OPB, as they say, other people's boats. This is a good way to be.
Okay.
Now I've completely 180 and gone off the deep end, literally.
Literally.
And I have 3 large sailboats and 2 small ones now to make the program happen.
Okay.
So yeah, the fleet has grown, but the big girl is still the flagship. That's where we do most of the work. Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this, part of your origin story with being from Wisconsin. How did you become a sailor? Have you always had a passion for the water?
I like water. I grew up in canoes, doing canoe trips.
Yeah.
That was the first thing. I moved to Idaho when I was 18. Dad's good friend went to University of Idaho for grad school after Vietnam, and he planted the seed. And so I ended up moving to Idaho when I was 18. All I knew when I was 18 is that I didn't want to milk cows.
Fair enough.
And so I left, and I went out west on this guy's advice. I'd never been to Idaho, and we came and checked it out, and I was like, "Oh, I'll go out here for a few years, and we'll see." And that was in '98, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
I got into whitewater right away, from a canoe into a kayak, into rivers in Idaho, and guiding and eventually found my way into a campus recreation job at North Idaho College in Coeur d'Alene, where I inherited 5 sailboats.
Oh.
I'd never been sailing. And I remember early on, the department head, this is like the first week of work of any job I'd ever had after college. The department head brought me in and she said, "John, do you want to learn to sail?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm super into it. I want to learn." And she's like, "Good, because I just fired the sailing instructor." That's what she said to me. And I was like, okay.
No pressure.
Sent me to Seattle for a 2-day class, and a week later I was teaching sailing at North Idaho College. It was hilarious. I had taught other things in the great outdoors, so I had a bit of a rap, but I didn't know what I was doing technically on a sailboat. And so I got a shotgun start into it, and immediately I was enchanted with it. Number one, because it came naturally to me. It's easy to, do the things that you're good at.
Yeah.
And so sailing was easy for me, and that helped. But also I met some critical people there on Lake Coeur d'Alene who sparked an entire now career in sailing. All the major folks who made things happen for me, they all came from that lake. That's how it all got going.
Okay.
And that's part of the reason why I circled back this direction later.
Okay. That does make a lot of natural sense for you to end up on the water.
Right.
And I do love that it seems like perhaps it was therapeutic for you, a therapeutic exercise to be on the water and to offer it to others.
Sure.
Who might not otherwise. That's amazing. What does a typical day look like for someone on one of your boats?
Well, it's specialized to whoever it is. So we tune the experience to the population that we're working with. So some, for example, if we have a special needs group, we have a mix of perhaps children and parents or caretakers, depending on the ratio and the needs of the participant. They come out and we just do what we call discover sailing. There's no agenda. It's not a lesson. Just come and feel it. And get out and experience it at all. When I work with youth groups, it's often a little more of a training style, like learn to sail experience. And then we also do a fair amount of sailboat racing. And so like my veteran group, for example, they dig competition. They respond really well to it. Teamwork, task and purpose, that speaks to the vets.
I bet it
Big
does.
time. Yeah. And so we tune the day. Those are kind of the 3 themes, and then they often overlap a little bit depending on the group. But we try to talk to folks, and figure out what they want. And then I work with people who, again, specialize in that population, whatever it is, and they help me tune the experience. And then we go do it and see how it goes. And then ideally continue and keep tuning the instrument until then you get to see, you can tell when it's working, for sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
What is a surefire way that you notice when it's working?
I think the most like point blank obvious response is, again, back to the folks with special needs, especially those who have sensory issues, autism or otherwise. Like they're quite sensitive to noise. And so we motor out of the marina with the diesel engine running, and we put up the sails, and they're all just like kind of hanging in there. They don't like it. And the moment I turn the engine off, it's like they arrive. Their eyes open, their heads pop up, they say hello to me. They're all like here. And it's the quiet and the motion that really, it's a rare combination. When you're sailing, especially if there's some breeze, it feels like you're really going fast. Sailboats are not fast in the realm of boats.
Okay.
Or vehicle of any kind. If you're in a hurry, don't sail. It's not the way.
Okay. Good to know.
But it feels fast because the wind's blowing in your face and the water's going by. And so they get the sensation of speed without noise, which is quite rare.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a
and
cool
so
point.
that group responds really well there. Others, their battles are a little more internal. So we don't often see it right away. But I have some, I've had people send me artwork. I have some testimonials that'll break your heart in half, like really heavy stuff that folks share. And there's something about that experience of the sails in the water that helped. And when someone takes the time to let me know that, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Especially for them to express it in other ways, like art, that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there, I imagine you probably have many examples you could give us, but is there a time where you had an experience on the boat and it really stuck with you over this time?
There's been a lot.
I'm
Been super
sure.
lucky that way. I think, one that sticks out is just because we just mentioned it. I partner with a program in Spokane called HRC Ministries. They have a safe house for women who've been sex trafficked. It is heavy stuff.
Yeah.
They took a chance to even partner with me because there are no men involved anywhere. And so the admin was like, I'm not even sure if they're going to get on the boat, but we'll try. And I forget how many people came that first couple times, but there were 3 women who were in the program. They were in the house. And one of them got on the boat. She never looked at me. And she sat down. And she came several times over the course of that first year, and never spoke, no eye contact, but she came back. And I don't know, a month later, after the last time I saw her, I got a package in the mail. It's in my office, just like, 50 feet from here.
Yeah.
It's this, like, I don't know what it's called, but it's beads. It's on a like a paper, like a cardboard backing, and it's all these like half beads that are glued down. Shockingly intricate, like one bead at a time, is this like sunset sailboat scene, and that was made by her.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she sent that to you after
Yeah.
after spending time on the boat. It sounded like you said over a year's span.
She came more than once. I can't remember
okay.
exactly, but
That's okay.
yeah, she came several times. And like I say, I don't know her name. She never said a word to me. But that's one of those where you hear the cliche, like, everyone's fighting a battle you know nothing about. We hear that
Yeah.
often.
Yeah.
That's one of those where it was like, I have no way to even begin to understand what she's been through.
Sure.
No way. And I'm grateful that I don't know. And so it's this hard thing to know, like, well, is it working? Did it help them?
Yeah.
If they don't
to
tell you?
measure.
I mean, the best indicator of whether or not something is working is if it's repeated. And she came back
Yeah.
a couple times. So that was enough for me. And then I get this like picture in the mail, and it's just like floors me. I look at it
bet.
every day when I'm here.
I'm going to have to come look at it.
Yeah. It's outstanding.
That's a really powerful story, and it kind of brings to mind really you're providing a safe space for people to explore, and maybe they're just exploring themselves even, as far as, just that peace. Like you said, if it's quiet, they can actually kind of sort out how they feel about stuff. So that's pretty powerful, I would say.
Right on.
Let me ask you this. Do you have other staff besides yourself?
I do. I have a full-time seasonal staff, a young guy named Court Nutt, who is a former student who started as a volunteer and a participant in the program and showed a lot of interest and progressed, and is now working full-time in the summer. So he does a lot of the junior programs, and he also takes care of the boats. He's real busy. So yeah, shout out to Court. Court works hard.
Good job, Court.
Yeah, he sails 6 days a week and is doing great. And then I also have another fellow named Bruce Robertson, and Bruce works a day and a half a week, for me. He's retired and is an exceptional sailor and a good teacher, and so he runs the boat a little bit too, to try to expand our potential to be able to run more than one program at a time. And for the first 3 years, it was just me. So I can only, like I say, I can only take so many people sailing in a day. Mm-hmm. And so as the demand grew for the program, I rolled the dice and hired staff, which is a big swing for a nonprofit of any size, is to have to be able to raise enough money to pay someone. If we don't raise enough money to pay me, I just press on. But if I promise someone and we sign a contract, it's a different animal. And so there's more pressure. But ultimately, if we're going to do this, there is an optimal scale, as with any small business. It's like, well, how many cheeseburgers do we need to sell to make this work?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And then do we open up 2 cheeseburger stands, or do we just do 1? And right, and this mystery of scale, and nobody knows until they're in there what is the right amount to do. But I realized quite quickly that I couldn't do enough on my own to make this work, and so I needed help. And so I have 1 full-time, 1 part-time, and then a board of directors, and a gang of volunteers to help make it happen.
Okay, good. How long were you doing it on your own to begin
3
with?
years.
3 years. Okay,
Yeah.
so it was the 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So I imagine, with this being seasonal, I guess your operations are seasonal, maybe? Is that fair? Is that right?
Yeah.
What happens for your organization in the off season for you, like in the winter?
We fundraise. That's
Sure.
basically it. Yeah. So I have other jobs to make my life happen.
Sure.
And so I go do that. And then I raise money for the next year.
Okay.
That's basically it. So it's fundraising events, grant writing, donor appreciation, outreach, and so on, to try to get folks to support the mission. Try to get a newsletter out every month, which I'm not great at, but we try to communicate with those who are supporting us, tell those stories throughout the off season to try to fund the next year. It's a dream of mine to make this a year-round program. I would love, to have a barn or a shed at some point where we could work on boats in the winter. We could build boats and do things like that. But brick and mortar facilities are a long way from where I'm at right now in the realm of funding. But the seasonal nature of it is double-edged. It's all right for me and the staff to stop, because it's pretty intense during the season. We're peak right now. So there's programs, there's 1 to 5 programs 6 days a week right now.
I'm lucky I got you on this podcast.
Well, yeah, I was busy. I went sailing this morning. I'll go again tomorrow. But there's a lot going on, and so by September we're all kind of ready to not be sailing all the time, and so that's okay. But at the same time, we have to raise the money, and also the folks who come every week. At the end, they're like, "How long till we go again?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's May, dude. It's 8 months, And that's a bummer. And some of them I never see again, and they might sail all summer. And then they don't come back because their life, who knows what happens. And so there's a disconnect there. So it's, like I say, double-edged at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I love that you are still thinking ahead of how you could make it a year-long thing. And pieces will fall where they may, right?
Sure.
It'll happen.
Mm-hmm. Or it won't.
Or it won't.
It's hard
And
to
you'll
say.
still keep offering what you offer. And
Yeah.
that's an amazing thing. So, what's happening for you right now? Is there anything outside of regular operations? Do you have a project or an event coming up? I think that you just had a veterans. I was going to say ride. Do you call it a ride? Is it a sail?
Well, you can call it whatever you like.
Okay.
We go sailing. We had last Saturday was our veteran regatta.
Yes.
Yeah, so a regatta is just a bunch of boats out doing something. Is
Okay.
the definition of a regatta. In the world of sailing, regatta generally implies competition. And so the veteran regatta, it's the Petty Officer Preston Johnson, U.S. Navy veteran regatta, and Petty Officer Johnson was from Spokane, and he was a veteran who came home and died of suicide. And his family has since took up the charge, and they are work with a program called the Spokane Veteran Forum, which is vet court, basically. That's what they used to be called. And so they, if a veteran is convicted of a minor crime, they can go through this year-long probationary process. If they finish, they clear their record. It's quite progressive. In recognizing that when veterans return from service, their life is turned upside down, and sometimes they make mistakes.
Sure.
They're not murderers. They're not bank robbers. They don't need to be imprisoned, but they did break the law. And so there's a process. And so I've been involved with that program in various ways, but we started the regatta together. And so it's primarily veterans who are involved in that program, but now it's branched out. We had vets from all over the place. We had 24 veterans, 8 sailboats. There was like 50 people there, a whole bunch of volunteers and so on, and it was a great event. Connie sponsored the lunch, and we had just a great time, and give those veterans, we don't do enough. They give so much to protect and serve and our freedom and so on, and we hear it all the time, but there's not a lot for them. They really struggle. The data is bad. It's terrible. And so we try to get them involved, get them hooked into sailing. Maybe they find community. Maybe they find a place here. Maybe they come out once and it's great and that's it. But others sometimes really take to it. So yeah, that was a great day just a few days ago. And I would say the other thing that is coming up that's pretty exciting is we're going to host our first in-person fundraising event this year. Yeah. We launched during COVID. And so we had an online fundraiser. And then we kept doing it because it was working until it didn't. Last fall, our fundraiser failed miserably and nearly ended the program. But we persevered, the board rallied, and we pulled it off, and we kept the thing in business, and we made it, and now we're doing well again. And so we're like, well, maybe we should try the old-fashioned way. And so we're gonna. And I just secured. This just happened on Monday.
Okay.
So this is fresh news, folks.
This is fresh.
Yeah, urgent.
You heard it here
right?
first.
Probably, to be honest. So we're gonna host Sailapalooza. That's what we're gonna call it.
I love it.
And it's gonna be the 13th of September, Saturday. It's 5 to 8 p.m. at Matchwood Brewing. We're gonna have a party. We're gonna have games. I don't want to do a stuffy dress-up fundraiser. It's just not us.
Sure.
And so we're not doing that. It's free. Anyone can come, and I want the people that sail with us that are on scholarship or participating to be able to come. And so, but also we're here to raise money, so you'll be able to buy a VIP table if you'd like. There will be games to play that you can buy tickets to play, and the winner will get a prize, and we'll have a silent auction, and we're also going to auction off a few trips. The primary thing we've done to raise money in the past is by auctioning sailing trips in other places. Yeah. Through my previous life on boats, I have connections, and so we've done trips in Mexico and Greece and the San Juan Islands and the Caribbean, and so we'll be auctioning off sailing trips at the event to help us fund the program here. Mm-hmm. And the folks at Matchwood have been delightful, absolutely fantastic to work with, and we're just getting started, but it feels good.
Good.
It's a terrifying thing. You've done it. Fundraisers I'm looking forward to it because I hated the online experience. Mm-hmm. It was me just speaking into a vacuum. There's no people there. We used to broadcast that fundraiser from a couch in Barb's office. And there's no interaction, and it's really hard to tell if anyone's even watching. except it did well. So people were watching. We raised a lot of money.
Sure.
But like
You found
personally,
that out,
I didn't
right?
enjoy it. And I was like, I want to do this because I get to talk to people and say thank you and tell our story and get others to tell their stories and share them. And so I think it's going to be great.
I was just going to say, it does seem like, especially for you, knowing you the amount that I do, you are very story oriented and connecting with people that way. I happen to believe storytelling is an enormous way to just be curious and learn and make a difference, even if it's just something small. So I imagine that format of fundraising might not have been as, soul soothing for you as you would think. So when you say that last fall it failed, what do you attribute that to? What was
Great question.
Yeah.
A lot of variables, but I think primarily the election.
Okay.
Tactical error by me. Like, I own this. Don't run a fundraiser a week after a presidential election. No matter what happens, it's probably not going to be great.
Okay.
It's a lot of change, and specifically this time around,
Sure.
there was a lot of the whole country's divided, and 50, and there were people reeling after that election, and the stock market and people were just holding on to their money. So
Okay.
not a good time to ask for a donation.
So maybe there's a fear during the transition period of time.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just us. There were, the whole nonprofit community, and it's not gotten better since. And so the timing, but also I think it just wore off.
Okay.
We're not a startup anymore.
Yeah.
And so that energy's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And we needed to do something different. And I'm just glad it didn't end the program. I'm glad we were able to persevere. And in a lot of, it's hard at the time, but I think like in most hard times in life, it's real hard to look through it and see the other side when you're in the mud or however you want to describe it. And, but we've had to totally reevaluate the business plan, the staffing, how we run the program, who we serve, what we charge. All these things got reevaluated because we were on fumes. And our business has come out better for it.
Sure.
So I have a gratitude now for that experience.
Yeah.
If you'd asked me a week after that, I would have had a different story to tell.
Sure.
But that's life, and that's how this stuff works. And I don't know anyone in business or specifically nonprofit that when I tell them that doesn't sit back and they're like, "Whew, yep."
Yes.
And then they tell me what they did to persevere or about the program they were a part of that ended.
Mm-hmm. Which unfortunately does happen, right? And it's like you say, it's a matter of that formula and doing that chemistry science project of a little bit of this, maybe I need more of that.
Yep.
That's tough. And the only real way of knowing is just doing it.
Right.
And it can be risky sometimes. But you did it.
We're still going.
Yeah. You're still afloat, shall we
Right?
say.
There you go.
Let's see. What drives you to keep going? Especially, and it's kind of a follow-up to what you just said, when you do have moments where the organization feels like it's stuck in the mud, coupled with working with a population that can really have some tough, heavy stories to it. How do you keep yourself going? What keeps you going?
That's a great question. I think a couple of things. Number one is that it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's real hard to stop doing something if you know it works.
Great.
I've seen too many people have like landslide life change through these sailing experiences to stop trying to do it. But I think even what's underneath that is that this is, often I think people view those of us in charity as, these bleeding hearts who are all about others.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. I think it's baloney. The
Oh.
real truth is that I do this because it makes me feel better about myself.
Okay.
I have a real problem with self-confidence. I have a deep-seated challenge with believing in me. And when I do this, I feel better about myself. And when I feel better about myself, everything is better.
Mm-hmm.
Things that seem to be completely out of my control improve. And
So
there's nothing that isn't linked to that for me.
So do you think that it's like the analogy of pouring from an empty cup, where you have to fill up your cup to be able to offer it to someone else who's thirsty, right? Do you
Right.
think it's like that for you?
I do. Yeah. I think it's, that one, not specifically that's probably not what I'm saying, but it's definitely possible to give too much. There are times when, if you'd talked to me in like September of last year or the year before, super burned out, cups empty, hanging by a thread, like, right? Where I've just run, 100 days straight. And so the cup would have been empty at that point. But this is more about acknowledging the fact that this is not just for the people that I take sailing, it's for me.
Okay. So that is
That it fills my own.
Yeah.
Like I'm not pouring all the water out. Some of that water is somehow dripping back into my cup. I'm not nailing the analogy now, but like
I messed you up with the cup thing.
but to know that it's not just about all these other folks. It's about me trying to do something with my time that makes me feel purpose, that makes me feel like I have a reason to be here.
Okay.
That's what keeps me going. And that I found something that gives me that and also seems to work is a winning lottery ticket for me.
Yeah, I would say so. Do you find when you have these groups or somebody who wants to sail with Dogsmile Adventures, do you find that they're seeking that piece of therapy and a holistic approach to helping themselves? Or is it more they want to sail and then it turns out that they are experiencing therapy? It's like a cart before the horse kind of thing. Are they seeking you for that therapeutic benefit?
Sometimes it's pretty like day to day, person to person.
Sure. And I imagine the
Yeah.
different groups.
Yep. I mean, some of my participants are going because they got signed up for a camp, and this is what's happening today.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, they didn't even choose it, right? Others, though, saw a video. Some of the veterans, for example, saw a video interview from another veteran that we did and was like, huh. And they saw themselves in that story and thought, well, I wonder if that would make me feel better. So that's a pretty bang-on example. But yeah, and I use the word therapeutic pretty liberally. I'm not a therapist.
Sure.
And I tell people, like, hey, I'm not going to come out and ask you about your childhood today while we're out sailing. That's not how this works. We're going to go sailing and let the lake and the water and the boat do what it does. That's the therapist. I'm just the shepherd, like making sure everybody's safe and it's working. That's where the work happens. And so expectations can vary widely and results can vary widely, right? I try not to be too attached to it and just let it happen. And it's often not what I expect, positive and negative. Sometimes with people, I'm like, oh, this is really going to work for you. And it doesn't. And others seem to they're a bit aloof. Maybe they're there because someone told them they had to be, or they're there in support of someone else, and it blows their hair back. And so I just never know. So I try not to have too many expectations. I just put the boat together in the morning and see how it goes.
Yeah, see what happens. What is it that you wish more people understood about, and now I'm struggling with words now because I don't want to use therapy, but what do you think, or what would you wish most people understood about alternative mental health practices, I guess?
Well, I think there's more to therapy than sitting on a couch and talking about your problems. I've spent a lot of time on that couch. I have spent a lot of time and money in traditional therapy, and I am a firm believer that it has saved my life. So it's not down on it. But I think there's other ways, and that doesn't work for everyone. And so why not seek out a combination? Could be psychotherapy, medication, and rec therapy. That's what this is an and, not an or thing for me.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm doing this in combination with trying to eat right and exercise a little more because I know that's going to help me. And I also joined the sailing program because it's not that this is the way; it's just another way, and it works differently, and it appeals to perhaps different people in different ways. But it's not even a substitute in my head. It's just another way to try to feel better, and it's repeatable for people. We try to make it economical for people to do and accessible. A lot of therapeutic recreation programs focus on a specific population. So we do kids with cancer, or we do veterans, and I resist that. Because I just don't want to focus on a specific population. It says therapeutic sailing for everyone on our website, and I really believe that. Unless you are deathly afraid of the water, likely due to some past trauma that it's going to be pretty hard for me to fix with a boat.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Right? That's about the only barrier, or a physical barrier, which we're breaking down all the time. We've had 3 or 4 wheelchair users already this season. We're really working on making it more accessible. And that's why I chose sailing, is because you don't have to be fit. A lot of, again, therapeutic recreation, it's like, well, if it's a mountain biking program or even a skiing program, there's a level of physical fitness that's required to even participate. Not in sailing. If I can get you on the boat and off the boat, you can sail. We had a 91-year-old guy the other day.
Amazing.
Stan, old, red suspenders, legend.
Fantastic.
Super happy to be there, right? But it took 4 of us to get him on and off the boat. And once he was in. He was great. He's pulling lines, having the best time. So I think that's important that people know that you don't have to be fit, big, small, old, young, whatever. If we can get you on and off the boat, you can go sailing. And connect with nature and get all those benefits that are out there waiting.
That's amazing. And again, you have the equipment. People don't really have to come to a sailing adventure with anything, right?
Right.
Do you have life vests and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, no, you don't need to bring much.
Yeah.
Yep.
What about people with motion sickness? Do you deal with that?
Yeah, it happens. I tell people, remember, we don't have an agenda. If we go out and in the first half hour, all you can do is hold back your vomit, let's go back to the dock. It's okay. But that's super rare. Most people get seasick in the ocean. The lake rarely makes people seasick because there's no waves. There's no swell. And so the water's generally fairly flat, and so the motion sickness. But those who are quite sensitive to motion sometimes struggle. But the thing about sailing versus a lot of people have bad experiences on motorboats. They're breathing fumes, and they're often trying to fish. That's where a lot of people get seasick, because they're trying to stay in a specific spot to chase fish and do their thing. when we're sailing, the nature of the sailboat is quite stable. Like it's leaning to the side, so like there's that. But the motion isn't. The motion is quite stable most of the time, and so there's not as much motion side to side, that horizon imbalance that gets people. It doesn't happen as much when you're on a sailboat. Also, sailing engages your mind, and so you're not thinking about being sick.
Okay. What do you mean by engages your mind?
I think people often ask me how is sailing therapeutic? Like,
Yeah.
what is it?
Okay, yeah.
And there's a lot of things that happen out there, but I think the thing that is most universal is that sailing holds us in the moment. Most of my suffering happens in the future or the past. I'm rarely suffering right now. I'm worried about what might happen, or I'm regretting what just happened.
Yeah.
That's where I suffer. And so when I'm sailing, because my body and mind are engaged with the activity, there's no space for those thoughts. And there's tremendous relief in that. And it's a meditative experience. You know, if anyone who's learning to meditate or is a practitioner, the whole game is to notice those thoughts for what they are, which are thoughts, not actual pain.
So these things are happening without people even really knowing, right?
Not necessarily, you know, sometimes we talk about it, but most of the time we don't. Just let it be. And so when I say that, you know, my mind is engaged, it's focused on the activity. The sailboat doesn't work if I'm not paying attention.
True, probably.
I can't do
right?
it. And even I sail all the time, I still have to pay attention to make it work. And therefore, my attention's on that and not on the person who honked at me in the parking lot or whatever.
Okay,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I ride a motorcycle, and I love driving road trips. And my favorite part of those, probably, you know, being on the road, is being in between where I was and where I'm going. And just the change in expectations in your present state. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Super similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an old adage that the motorboat captain will tell you about all the places that he's been on his boat. And the sailboat captain will tell you all these stories about what happened in between the places that he's been on his boat.
Okay, yeah. I like that.
It's more of a journey over destination kind of mindset.
Yeah.
And it's not universal. Like, no offense to the motor yacht captains, there are probably some pretty cool ones out there. I know a few pretty rad guys that drive motorboats, but the sailboat, because it's so slow and it's not easy to get somewhere, requires that engagement, and therefore more time and more attention, and more happens. In
sure.
between.
Yeah.
But it is the in between, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the pieces that no different than your motorcycle trips is it's that space between the next thing and before that is right now, right? And
Yeah.
the more we engage and try to be present, the better almost all of us feel.
Sure. Yeah. What a great way to exercise that. I love that. And like I say, it's why I ride a motorcycle.
For sure.
And the rumble's kind of nice too,
Cool.
to be honest. But.
Yeah.
All right. So we like to ask all of our guests, and really in our work here at the EnVision Center, we like to consider what would the community look like if we didn't have Dogsmile Adventures? What do you think that would look like for us?
Well, a lot like it did 5 years ago. It wasn't here. Without it, every kid in town now has an opportunity to learn to sail. And that wouldn't be here. Junior sailing was a pretty minimal, small thing when I came to town, and we've been able to really blow it up with cooperation from the Sandpoint Sailing Association and the Sandpoint Park and Recreation.
Okay.
We've all partnered up, and we are rocking junior sailing right now.
That's a great partnership, it seems like.
Three-way
Yeah.
makes it all happen, and there's facilities and equipment and a lot of collaboration happening, and there's 75 kids in junior sailing.
Wow.
Yeah, at
That
some
seems
level.
like a really great number.
We're crushing it.
Yeah.
And so that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like,
Okay, yeah.
that wouldn't be going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just think about folks who I've met that never, ever, ever thought they'd go sailing. It just never even crossed their minds. And then somehow come into contact with our program, or they're part of a group, or one way or another found their way to the dock, and we took them out. And now they join the sailing club and sail all the time, or bought a sailboat and have like really gone for it, or traveled to other places to sail because they learned here. It's those folks that are just, I'm like, man, none of that would have happened if the program wasn't here.
So you're providing
So-
that exposure that might not be there otherwise for the education piece, which I really didn't ask specifically about the education, and that's huge. So I'm glad you said that. And then even, the treatment of PTSD with your veterans, and do you feel like maybe perhaps some of those groups would fall through the cracks if we didn't have an option of sailing? Maybe.
I mean, it's I'm always cautioned to speculate, like what would happen if it wasn't. That's
Sure.
it's a stretch for me. But what is happening is I get 2 to 3 letters, notes, phone calls a year from people who have told me very directly that I saved their lives.
That's enormous.
So there's that. I can't say that they wouldn't be here if we didn't go sailing, because there's no way to know that.
Sure.
But I can tell you that it saved mine.
Okay.
That I don't think I'd still be in the game if I wasn't doing this. And I know what that feels like. And so when I hear it from someone else, I take it pretty seriously. And we all should. And so perhaps there are people walking the earth that wouldn't have been. Again, it's a big swing, but it's not completely fantasy either.
Well, thank you for being in a vulnerable place to be able to answer some of this stuff.
Sure.
Totally relates to one of the first questions I asked is why you do this kind of stuff. So thank you for doing that and for showing up for our community that way. So if there are people listening that say, I want to get involved with this project, what's the best way for people to engage?
Through the website, probably. Okay. Yeah, so you can fill out a form there and shoot me a message. Even if you're not quite sure where you land, just reach out. Or come down to the dock. Like, we're easy to find, especially in the summer. We're with the Windbag Marina here downtown Sandpoint almost every day. So there's somebody around to come and check it out. But yeah, give me a call, shoot me an email. We're on social media, Dogsmile Adventures. Our YouTube channel's growing and cool. We've got more and more videos so people want to know like what it's like. Go to the YouTube channel. We got all kinds of people now on video talking about their experiences, and it's just to get a feel for what it's all about, and just acknowledge that sailing is a fringe activity here. It's not like a core thing in North Idaho.
Sure.
We're not known for our sailing, right? And so lots of people are like, well, I don't know how, or I've never been, and that's fine. Start with us. Like, it's a great place to just try it or even see what it's all about. So the web is easy. And I'm here at the EnVision Center, especially in the wintertime.
Yeah.
I'm around, so you can come and find me here too. But
we'll point to your
I think connecting through the internet in some way is the best way to find us and figure out where you might fit.
So for your event in September, Is that something, you said it was free, so do people just show up, or do they need to at least RSVP somehow?
Nope. Open door.
Okay, great.
Yep. I just resist so much of exclusivity.
Yeah.
It's just not where I operate. And so we have a suggested donation to come to the party, but if you don't have anything but enough to get there, just come. Enjoy the music. Like, if you come and find me, I'll probably buy you food and drink because I'm having a great time. So that's cool. Like, whatever. Just show up to the gathering. What we want to do is bring the whole community together.
Yeah.
And we'll raise money because we need to raise money, right? There's a reality to the business of nonprofit. And but I believe that we can do it in an inclusive way and not necessarily an exclusive way. So I want those families who are on scholarship and junior sailing to come. And I also need the folks with the house on the lake and several others to come. I need them too.
Yeah. You need a good mix.
We need a good mix. And that's the beauty of sailboats is there's all kinds. There's the folks that found this boat abandoned somewhere, and there's the folks that bought a brand new one and everything in between. And it doesn't matter because we're all linked together through sailing, or even lower or more core than that, we're by compassion.
Oh, I love that. Is there anything else you think we should know that we didn't cover?
I just want to say thank you to the EnVision Center. When I was first launching, I was in the library foyer and like coffee shops because I didn't have a space to work, and I house sit. I don't have a place to live here, and I still don't. I house sit and live in a trailer most of the time, and which works for me. But like reliable internet and a filing cabinet, a pencil sharpener, a bathroom, all these things, they seem like super simple. They're not if you're just trying to start out and there isn't any capital. And so this affordable space to do business, I think, is fundamental to the fact that I'm still going. I really believe it. It's there. I don't think Dogsmile Adventures would exist if I didn't have the EnVision Center, if I didn't have this place to work. The networking alone. I don't know how to run a business. I've never raised money. I have no clue what I'm doing. And through this place, I get to meet with all these other folks, and some folks who have been in this game a long time and have a lot of lessons to share. Others who are in the trenches, clueless like me, trying to figure it out. And we all connect here. And the benefit of that is immeasurable to me. And so I think that I want to make sure I get that on this podcast because I really am grateful to the EnVision Center. I think that this place has a tremendous potential, and I know it's impacted my mission very directly.
Thank you for saying that. On behalf of the EnVision Center, I'll just say that's what we're trying to do. And it shows in the missions that are executed around our community. So Thank you. That was really nice.
Right on.
So, Jon, thank you just overall for being here and for being who you are, sharing your heart with us and the magic that you're doing. I look forward to seeing all the great work that you do. I look forward to it.
Cool.
I'll come visit your warehouse that you're going to have someday, right?
Right. Yeah.
Put it into the universe.
Right.
So, but yes, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Right on. Thank you. It's been awesome.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. For more information, you can go to crecIdaho.com. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again soon.